to become an MEC. Tell us a little some of the moments of your struggle history in the Eastern Cape.
In Transkei,
yes.
in particular, when Madiba was released, he went for the first time in Mthatha. I was part of the reception committee, as part, of course, of the leadership of the ANC Youth League. It was a very resounding moment when we welcomed him in Mthatha at the airport, and this is where many people came to receive him. The people on horseback, actually, from the rural communities, and he spoke there about his youth when he grew up. I remember he said that. Sasikula apa siba umbona singamakhwenkwe. What that means is that we grew up here. I grew up here. I did everything that young people did, including stealing the maize, and playing, sticks, traditional, games and so forth. The rally was so big. Even the place now, if you go to Mthatha outside, is still called Nelson Mandela, because now at the moment it became an informal settlement, and then people settled there formally. It was officially recognized by government. And now
this is the occasion where he first met his son.
No. Actually, in fact, immediately after that,
yes.
He then became integrated with his son.
Yes.
Mahatu.
Yes.
I still remember when he met for the first time Paramount Chief Katie Matanzima. In his homestead called Baba.
Yes.
In Kamata, great place. This is one of the shining moments, because the one you'll never forget that, because remember that these are the people who had different histories at the political level, but they were cousins or cousin brothers. I remember during that session, it was the military ruler General Bandu Rumisa was there, and the late Peter Mukaba was there, and I was also there. And then they met for the first time. It was very, very kind of emotional. But he tried to give certainty to his cousin. He praised him about education that he came from. Although he came from a family, a mother and father, not having gone through formal education, but they always looked on him, KD Matanzima, for as an educated person. But let's also remember that he assured him that when the majority government comes, there will be no, people won't be vindictive. They won't be vindictive against him. That even places that have been named, like, Katie Matanzima, airport, or Katie Matanzima buildings and so on and so forth, that legacy. He assured him about that. And what then took me was that we spent a lot of time, trying to fight this regime. More especially during that time, and all its atrocities against the people. Now Nelson Mandela, somebody who was a symbol of our resistance against the Bantustan.
And now he's preaching reconciliation.
Now preaching reconciliation and so forth. But also another thing, there were people who came there marching, to the homestead of that traditional community in Kamata, and President Mandela stopped that march. He said, no, you cannot march. You're supposed to be part of the meeting. So therefore, because you must, be quiet. You must attend the meeting. Those who are men must sit where men are sitting, and those who are women must sit where those flags must disappear. Because this is a traditional gathering, and people must respect, the chief. And this place, you can march, not here. So those are some of the fascinating stories. Very unwritten, history.
But how did you feel at that time? I mean, knowing that there was this rising militancy that had taken place for over decades, to sort of quell or to sort of remove the Bantustan. That was one part of the strategies of resistance. And you were obviously militant, and blood must have been boiling at the time for you to be told, no, look, you need to actually just switch tactics.
Yes. By the way, I had to, as part of the leadership, to go and also address the masses, about this, because during that, so for many years, actually, more than 2 decades, there was this intense situation where the authorities were very, very brutal against the people.
Exactly.
We have seen so many, mostly killing of cadres.
Yes.
And then I think they also managed through propaganda to make people believe that we are independent, but there was this resistance. And then Mandela was this symbol of resistance. And now here's the time now that he gets released and he's telling us about this thing. Go to school. You must behave in a manner that is, civilized and so forth. But also, being prepared to pass an olive branch of peace, to the people that we always, fought, because in Transkei there was no white person to fight. Indeed, it was actually black people. But it was also complex because not everybody cooperated with the system. Because there are those who were officials, in the
administration.
In the administration, who actually worked very well with the liberation movement. You can't just paint all of them with
they're not tarred with the same brush.
Yes. But going further, I became the first MEC in that government of Raymond Mhlaba. And here again...
Another struggle icon.
Yes, another struggle icon. Yes. It was an honor to serve under Raymond Mhlaba.
I'm sure it must have been.
Because he used to tell us I became an MEC in his office. That's the MEC office of the Premier. An honor to serve with him because because I used to ask him about how did you feel when you were with Nelson Mandela, Watase Sulu and so forth.
On Robben Island.
But I can't remember that. In fact, I can't fail to remember the time where he was recalled, 1996.
Yes.
Because he actually said to us in the cabinet that, look, President Nelson Mandela has asked me, to sort of retire or, to leave the provincial government.
Can I just now take you to our final question, which is, what are you doing to pursue Madiba's legacy?
There are many things that we're doing. Part of what we're doing, we have memorialized sites. Remember, there are footprints of Madiba. Kunu, there's Clarkbury, where he went to school. There's Vilakazi Street, Forte itself being a prime site on the
university.
The university.
Yes.
What we've managed to do, we have been to map all the sites. The research has been done, sites have been packaged, and some of the sites of Madiba, they're already in the tentative list of UNESCO. And now what we're then going to do, we're going to ensure that these are preserved. But also education is very much important. We want to increase visitation of our sites, not only by foreigners, but by South African locals. If you look at Chinese, what they're doing, they've managed to put their sites locally, to increase awareness, because these sites not only are they tourist attraction sites, these are reservoirs of knowledge.
Absolutely.
And centers of excellence. So they must be used by communities. We want a situation where our kids must go to these sites because they are writing homework and about South African road to freedom and so forth. It is then that we're going to ensure that we also build patriotism of our young people. We need to turn this, most especially this, where our sites are visited by foreigners and change that paradigm. We're working with tourism authorities to ensure that these are done, but also economic development as well in these sites must also be enhanced.
Definitely, I take your point. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. That was Mr. Sonwabile Mancotywa, who is the CEO of the Heritage Council. Thank you very much indeed for joining us.